This week on Storyboard, we are visiting Leo Burnett's Mumbai office this weekend and we are in conversation with Dheeraj Sinha and Rajdeepak about their most recent winning spree and vision for the agency. And to tell us more about Tata Salt's recently launched campaign around Republic Day and TCPL's future growth plans for Salt portfolio, how is the company dealing with general uncertainty and volatility? We are joined in by Deepika Bhan, President Packaged Foods India, Tata Consumer Products. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shabani Gharat. From winning several new businesses, including PepsiCo and Meta, to becoming the Agency of the Year at Goa Fest Abbeys, winning a Grand Prix at Cannes Lion and the Grand FE for their work for Whisper at the recently concluded FE Awards, Leo Burnett has had a dream run over the past few months. But what does 2023 hold for the agency? What is going to be their talent strategy? And how are they navigating these uncertain times? Let's find out from Rajdeepak, CCO and Chairman, Creative Council, Publici Group South Asia, and Dheeraj Sinha, CEO, Leo Burnett South Asia and Chairman, BBH India. Dheeraj, Raj, so good to have you on the show again.
Thank you, Shivani.
So it has been a dream run for you guys for the past 1 year. First, of course, the Agency of the Year at Goa Fest, then followed by a Grand Prix at Cannes, and then now the most recent one, a Grand FE at the FE Awards. What next? Are you satisfied? Or ye dil mange more? Raj?
I think I love it, Dil Mange more, because we got Pepsi now. We start going back and says, let's go to our client and get the best brands, do the best piece of work. And we started the entire process of doing it. And while creating it, we didn't know that we will be Agency of the Year, having 15 brands winning for Goa Fest. We have no idea about that. While working on it, we never knew we will get a Grand Prix in sustainability. We knew that what you are doing is right with PNG. And the same goes to the last one, the FE's Effectiveness Grand Prix and becoming the #2 agency. We never planned for anything. I think we constantly been working on it, on every piece of work, every brand that we have. Of course, we are happy with the Grand Prix, but also we are happy that we have a brand like Whisper being the #2 brand, most awarded brand. Spotify, #3 most awarded brand. And these are our biggest brands, and we did the right work. I think it showed.
So, Dheeraj, over to you. The agency has come through shining at a time when, media and advertising industry at large is going through like a rough patch, a rough phase. What were the challenges that you faced in the year?
See, I think to our minds, we don't see ourselves too much in the context of what's happening in media and advertising. We see ourselves in the context of where is business headed, right? Where are the brands being built? And if you look at the India context, especially where we operate in, I mean, the economy is doing well, right? There are new startup brands being launched across the board. There are Indian brands which are going global. There are international brands which are doing so well in the country. So if you peg yourself to that, and the positioning that we did for Leo Burnett about 4 years back when Raj and I took over, we said we want to be India's #1 new age agency, right? So that matched very well. So we've been working with new age companies such as Spotify, Amazon, PhonePe, Boat, and so on and so forth. And we've been doing very well because they've been doing well, right? Last quarter, last year, I think there's been a bit of slowdown in terms of tech funding, etc. But we are lucky that now we have the whole portfolio of Pepsi brands, right? So I think there's growth in the market, right? Brands are being built. The consumption story in India is completely intact, and we link ourselves to that.
Yeah, and you just said one interesting thing, and I'm going to pick up from there. India's #1 new age agency. Now, new age is like a wide, it's open to interpretation. It's a term open to interpretation. So what do you mean by that?
The palette of what you can influence and what you can play with in advertising is so wide today. You can play with tech, you can play with data, you can play with innovation, you can do product innovations, right? You can do long form content, right? The palette is so rich. It's not just words and images, which is what advertising had to play 10 years back. So we are saying as an agency, we want to use creativity, data and technology to solve for real client problems and real human problems. right? And we're also saying that let's not forget the context that we are in India. We are in a country of 1 billion people, right? Now, here's a country where say 500 million people are on YouTube, right? About half of that are doing UPI and half of that are doing e-commerce. So you have to understand a large part of India, right, lives with gaps on education, on hygiene, on sanitation, on access on a daily basis. So we're saying using creativity, technology and data, how can we solve for 1 billion? How can we bring the advantage of brands for the benefit of society? And that's what the new age agency positioning means.
One motto that we have, impact 1 billion. And that's the plan is. And when you're talking about impact 1 billion, when we start working with PhonePe early days, it is a fintech company. Technology comes first. But wait a second, we are going to grassroots level and solving the problem. When you're working with brands like Whisper, again we are going to grassroots level and solving the problem. What we are designing now, it's also a lot of simple technology that is impacting schools and every day the way they behave, the way they do, how teachers have been reacting with the kids, how the feedbacks are happening. We are actually designing a lot of tech-based products and everything, which is our IPs now. A lot of things are our own IP for our brands and for our people. Because we always believe in it's not about just technology for the sake of technology. It's about technology impacting people's life for good. Otherwise, it's just cold technology. We have seen that brands losing people, a brand has to fire people when they hire people for the sake of just technology. If the technology is not part of people's life, then you are not doing an impact. So either it's Web3, either it is metaverse, either it is virtual or AI, whatever we are doing, whatever we are partnering with the brands, with the first thing that we look into it, not what technology we are using, what problem we are solving. And that is the most important question that we ask, what human problem we are solving. And with that, we can use any technology.
Having said that, Dheeraj, what do we expect from Leo Burnett in this year, since we are speaking to each other right at the start of the year?
So Shivani, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we are finished yet. Yeah? We are far from finished, right? And as an agency and as two sets of people, Raj and me, we don't do work for awards. Awards have happened, they are good milestones, they are a good stamp, they are good validation that we are perhaps on the right path. But a larger mission, as we said, for an agency like ours is we are trying to build an agency, we are trying to build a culture, an organization that we didn't have while we were growing up. So we have to do the right things. We have to build a culture where young people are excited about this business, about building brands.
You're saying you didn't have that?
I didn't have that. I didn't have that. Honestly, growing up as younger people, we struggled for empowerment. We struggled to face clients. We struggled to get our credit. Let's face it, right? So we are actively trying to change a lot of that. I mean, if you look at the way we are trying to build Leo Burnett, is the agency of the people. I mean, Raj and I don't think we own the people. 650 people at Leo Burnett own Leo Burnett, right? It's an agency of young people. If you look at our pitches, look at our credit system, all the young people are in the forefront. They have the voice. They go out and present. They get credit for the work they're doing, and so on and so forth, right? Look at the culture. It's an open culture. There are no rooms. Raj and I don't sit in cabins. Everybody has access. We serve the best coffee on the floor, right? Small details, but it matters when you're building a culture. So on that journey of building a culture, an organization which is merit-based, which is empowering the young, we are far from finished. It's a work in progress. It's always on. So we are on that path. As an agency which is building work, which is solving for 1 billion, which is our purpose now, again, I think we have a few pieces. We need to do more. So more of these two things is what you should expect from us in 2020.
Yeah, I'm coming back to the first piece where you spoke about building an agency for the people. Has it helped you attract more talent? Because let's face the truth, the war for talent for this industry is a real thing. Raj.
Advertising industry lost that charm that they had. Of course, when we joined, it was a most amazing, beautiful thing that they had. Then the time came, we were so flat, the other brands, what do you call it, like OTT platforms were interesting, content writers were interesting, everything was interesting, and we lost a lot of good people, and luckily a lot of bad people also, to those industry. And that amazing cleanup happened. It was, what do you call it, detoxification happened, and we were amazingly happy that we actually left the people who love this industry. And the moment you started doing the kind of work that you believe in, or the people, the kind of work that actually impacting people's life, you have started getting similar kind of people. We get people from IIT, for instance. Every year we hire from IIT. we get from MIT, we get from Ashoka, we get from, of course we go to MICA and XIC, the advertising colleges, but we actually go out and get certain kind of people who have a mindset of solving human problem, not mindset of writing a script. Very clearly, they have a mindset of solving human problem, and they are the odd ones out. So instead, like if you watch Three Idiots, it's like you have people who really want to solve human problems. So we have one guy who's hanging around here. I think he's one of the creative working for us for the 6 years, 7 years. IIT aerospace engineer, right? But he got a way of thinking of solving human problem, and we got a lot of them like that. The entire team, the young bunch of people who want to solve human problem, and that's what they want to do. So what we are looking at, and we are not looking at advertising people. So if you ask me, are we have a problem of getting people? No. Getting advertising people is tough, but getting people who want to solve human problem is not tough.
Yeah, so new age agency that solves human problems.
Human and brand problem.
Yeah, and brand problem. Okay. So Dheeraj, what are your expectations from the client for the year given the current scenario?
I think the signals we're getting right now are a little mixed, right? Of course, there's pain in tech. We all know there's pain in tech. At the same time, there's also green shoots in tech, right? So there's a lot of interest in EV. There's a lot of interest in sustainable brands. So while some of the big tech players have gone muted on advertising spends, we every day are getting new entrants coming to us and wanting help in launching. So that's the tech and the startup situation. I think there's a great momentum on consumer part of the game, right? So Oreo is doing very well. Pepsi has had the best year so far in the country. Abbott is doing great, and so on and so forth. GSK is doing amazingly well. So I think net this year will be a mixed year, but I don't think it'll be all gloom and doom. I think it'll get kind of offset by a lot of consumer spending. So overall, it should be a good year. It'll be tough. The going will be tough. It'll not be as smooth and easy. But net I think will exit better than we expect.
Okay, Raj, your expectations and what is it that you're looking forward to in this year? Anything that, any newer business models or ideas that excite you as a creative person?
I think the good thing is like someone asked me something is 2023 is coming, the winter is coming, right? I think 2020 was better than 2023. 2020 we didn't know what's hit us.
Yeah.
Right. 2023 know what's going to hit us. So when you know what's going to hit us, you start planning with that. I think I will give it to Dheeraj. In fact.
So what is going to hit us? First, tell us that.
So that's what I'm saying. So I remember when 2022 mid, when we started knowing that 23 slows down is happening, and the entire plan was to see more clients, FMCG clients, and more not just tech clients, not just startup clients and everything. So we have a portfolio of mixed up FMCGs and consumer products and everything came in the portfolio. But I think so while doing that, we have a massive amount of balance that we had. But what we are seeing it with a lot of new clients coming in, they don't want us to do TVCs very clearly. It says TVC to aap kar sakte ho, that you can do that. We know you are Burnett, you can do that. You have a history of doing those things. Give us solutions. So we are working with, I can't tell you the name of all the clients. We are working with clients to change their ecosystem. We are working with the clients to change the product. We're trying to change working with the clients, and I'm talking the big clients. Change how the e-commerce is happening. Innovative, we are doing the e-commerce for them. So we are, I think so, getting into the businesses, skin deep with them, and starting solving the problem. And for 2023, and we have some clients. We know that what will go down and what will not go down. We know the markets. We saw during COVID also what markets went down and what didn't went down. So we know those markets. We know those clients, pockets of clients and everything. And pockets of clients who are going down, we're working with them to how to survive 2023 for them. So I think it's a mixed portfolio. And of course, like we're as good as the last piece of work. So every client we're excited about.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
Thank you, Shivani.
It is time for a short break. Coming up on the other side of this break, we have another interesting conversation following up. Welcome back. Tata Salt has launched its 360-degree Har Sawal Uthega campaign for Republic Day. Through the campaign, the company aims to empower children by providing them with a one-of-its-kind platform to raise questions that could spark relevant conversations. To tell us more about this and TCPL's future growth plans for salt portfolio, how is the company dealing with general uncertainty and volatility, we are joined in by Deepika Bhan, President, Packaged Foods India, Tata Consumer Products. Listen in.
You have launched a campaign around Republic Day, which is asking children to ask pertinent questions. So it's Har Sawal Uthega campaign. Tell us more about it, the genesis behind the campaign and the thought behind it.
Yeah, I would love to. So look, the thought behind the campaign is really the belief that large, loved brands, they really ought to use their voice, their currency to make a difference, right? To stand for more. I've also seen over time that brands which can do this authentically, actually it builds greater brands and it builds distinctiveness and affinity. So it's a really win-win model. Now, when you look at Tata Salt, over the years, consumers have really trusted this to be Desh Ka Namak. And so with that comes the opportunity to use our voice for something bigger. So, with Republic Day, we just sort of thought about what is it that we can ask, how can we get the world to stop, pause and question a bit where we are headed. And that's really the genesis of the campaign. Now, the question was, if you want to offer a bit of a thought moment, what's the best stimulus? And after a lot of different ways to do this, we netted out that one of the best ways is actually, bringing the kid's voice. Because frequently what we are not willing to accept, otherwise we will when a child asks the question, and that's the genesis of Desh Ke Liye Har Sawal Uthega, which is to really surface kids' questions.
Okay, Deepika, since we are speaking, right at the start of the year, I wanted to understand what is the larger vision for your salt portfolio for the year? Like, what is it that you have in the pipeline? What do we expect?
So I think we're doing a big kickstart to the year with this campaign. We're very, very excited about what this campaign can do. So we are I think 5 to 7 days into the campaign now. We are at about 37,500 questions already. And I am just amazed. I'm telling you, I'm amazed by the kind of questions kids are asking.
What were the kind of questions? If you can.
Like, I'll tell you, my top questions have really been around. Maybe I'm a mother, so I'll always be more biased. But why is my name not my mother and father's full name, but only my father's name? There's lots of question around the simplicity of separating garbage and why are people not doing something that's so simple. There's a lot of questions around climate change. So the sheer awareness, and the change that kids are willing to imagine. That famous David Brower saying, right, that you don't inherit the earth from your ancestors, you actually borrow it from your children. And if this is what our children are asking, I actually, in this whole pathos of where are we heading, I was left very inspired that our future is bright, if this is what they can imagine. So I think back to your question, I think the big thing is we're kicking off the year with, I think, the biggest, most ambitious campaign on Tata Salt. And that just marks our belief in the fact that we're going to grow our core salt portfolio. But beyond salt, like you were referring to our last conversation, beyond core salt, we have really innovated in salt. So it's in very few FMCG categories, Shivani, that you would see that literally one single product defines the category, which is the status of salt. So I think there's just a lot of opportunity to innovate around salt. And you saw us do things like immuno, we're launching vitamin D, we've got a rock salt. So innovation and premiumization around salt. But I think if I step back, our story is not salt. Our story is the portfolio of foods that we're building, and so actually I'm very excited about the growth that we're getting and building on brands like Tata Sampann. The new forays that we are doing within Tata Sampann on categories like dry fruit, which, weren't there earlier, as well as the newer brands that we have launched like Simply Better and GoFit. So I think the idea is to use a portfolio approach to really get the max growth we can out of the, generally the food space.
Yeah. And what is your outlook for the year, considering that 2022 hasn't been easy, especially, for your business?
Yeah, not at all. I think for no business, to be honest, has it been easy. That being said, I'm definitely more optimistic. I do think that I mean, I don't think one can say that there won't be inflation, but I think that the worst is behind us. So I would still stay cautiously optimistic. And also, I think we're privileged, Shivani, because we are playing in categories which are more essential. And to that extent, we have the ability to make a persuasive case and keep our demand still strengthening. We reported very good volume growth even last quarter. So I would still stay optimistic. I think the job for marketers increases in these times, right? Because you got to get a higher share of mind.
Yeah, yeah. So we are also getting a mixed feedback from different sectors and the market. How is the company in general dealing with this entire volatility and uncertainty that lies ahead?
I think that I think it's what you do when you're running, a tight P&L line. So you just look at all lines of cost, and we try and ensure that we are able to manage, benefits around cost more and more. We spend where we need to and generate the right forward demand. So it's really about playing all lines of the P&L. But I would say organizationally, we continue to remain positive.
So any particular area that you're focusing on, something that you're playing with? Also, many experts are saying that in general, the inflation is cooling off. So
Yeah.
your reactions to that?
I think that our focus is shifting a lot more towards volume growth.
Hmm.
So I would say that I would look a lot, and you should in any given year, but I think this year even more so, we want to focus very hard on just getting more consumers into the franchise, building up penetrations. And that's another reason why we have this campaign as well. So I think that if we continue to build penetration and we start looking at quarterly and monthly penetrations on our brands, there is an immense opportunity. That's what we'll be focused on this year.
And what are the demand trends, Deepika?
I think that it is, I would say, same. We saw rural softening. I think that that pressure may continue for a bit. But overall, I feel demand this year is a bit stronger. And I think the second thing is also that specifically when we're talking out of wellness, health, we are getting greater response. So, for example, on Tata Salt, we've launched Immuno, which is a variant which is zinc fortified and helps immunity. We are clearly seeing greater acceptance and proclivity to buy that. So I think we've got to be choiceful in what we play. Rock Salt is another business which is again slightly more health oriented, which is seeing greater acceptance. So I think that there is, definitely greater proclivity to buy out of health and wellness. That's a clear demand trend.
Also, the premium products are doing well.
These are premium. Yeah, these are premium as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't say that it is necessarily that premium is doing better than core, because I do think it's a year of core and core above all first, which is the core Tata Salt. But there is an opportunity to grow premium. Look, India is so large. There's enough growth opportunity as long as you can position it right.
So, which brands in particular do you think will fuel growth for the company in this year?
I think Tata Sampann is going to be the leader as far as growth is concerned. So just by virtue of the number of categories that we play in, the sheer opportunity that we have to build penetration on that brand, that I think is a really large delta driver. And of course, Tata Salt.
And also, is that also because, in general, like the preference of a packaged branded essential has increased owing to the pandemic, the safety issues related, the hygiene issues around the pandemic? Is that
Yeah.
the reason for that?
I think that in general, if you look at penetration across packaged food, it is low than a lot of other FMCG categories. So I think the headroom to grow in packaged food anyway exists, and of course we got an upward thrust. So you're absolutely right. You can actually see mathematically that the quarters, that you saw the COVID wave is when you saw the maximum penetration gain. So you're absolutely right, and it's not plateaued to that. It's not gone back to the low level. It's plateaued to a high. So that definitely gave us an upthrust. And that trend or that proclivity to wellness continues, which is helping us.
Yeah, also, Deepika, direct to consumer has seen an exponential growth in the past couple of months, couple of years actually. What is TCPL's strategy over there?
I think we continue to stay invested. We continue to try and find the right business model. I think we are clear that we are not going to, we're going to be cautious about the unit economics working. So I would say that we are excited, we want to get it right, but we're not going to bleed. So we definitely want to focus on ensuring that the unit economics of it works. So we are actually trying multiple experiments. The brand site Nutri Corner, we've launched Simply Better has a D2C, Sonnets has D2C. So we're trying across our brands. So it's just about getting the model right, which is what we're focused on.
Perfect. All the best for that. Thank you so much. Thanks for speaking to us today.
My pleasure. Always good to see you.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.